Hello, everyone. It is losing my voice. It's great to be back with you guys. I'm a day later than I planned on being, but um, it's a 3-day weekend, and may have not as many people watching us live because of the holiday, but that's okay. You guys can, hopefully catch us on the replay um, at your convenience. So I first want to say hello to my amazing uh, co-hosts, Cherie and Rick. They both have been trying to scramble for me today because I've been so preoccupied and um, unorganized this last week. You guys know me, I'm pretty transparent, or, wear my heart on my sleeve kind of gal. And we kind of went through a pretty significant, well, severe, I would say, mental health situation in my close family last week. And I'm still everybody's fine. Everybody's, doing okay, but it was pretty severe nonetheless. And so I've been really preoccupied with that and other things, of course. So I just 100% transparency. I didn't do anything to get ready for this today. And so I hope that you'll bear with us or with me as I try to navigate myself through the things that Cherie and Rick have pulled together for me very well, I might add, at the last minute, because not only am I ill prepared and didn't do anything for myself, I didn't reach out for help from these guys sooner because I'm not the kind of person that asks for help. Cherie knows that about me from years and years back. So
yes, we're going to work on changing that.
I know it's so hard. I don't know. I think it just comes from being, the oldest child and being responsible for all my younger siblings, and then growing up as adults. I still was I didn't know it at the time, but incredibly codependent, and just helping take care of my siblings and their drug and alcohol and prison time and their own mental health. I just was the big sister who everybody called. And yeah, during all those years I completely ignored me, which is why I'm where I'm at today, partly. So anyway, blah 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 blah. So we're our family is still getting through the situation, and if, like I said, everybody is okay physically and emotionally, we're all working on it, and we'll get back. But in that process of me doing that, like I said, I didn't do anything, and I called on Cherie and Rick an hour and a half ago, I would say, to help me pull this stuff together. So they did great. I am going to be the one that's going to try to pull all of it together for you guys. But I've also given strict instructions to both of them. When I get off track or rambling, like right now, rein me back in, cut me off. Don't let me keep talking. And, so we can get back on track. Because what we want to talk about today is, to the three of us, kind of a big deal. And, but it's not something that was really ever a focused on part of Daniel Holtzclaw's trial. So before we get into all that, I want to say hello again to Rick and Cherie, and just a quick rundown. Rick, what you've got going on lately?
Actually, in the downtime, I've been spending a lot of time writing on my book.
That is awesome. I didn't know you were writing a book. How did I not know that?
Because it has nothing to do with subject matter we ever talk about.
Oh, gotcha. That's fair. That's fair. I'm also,
Unless you're a naval
oh,
historian, you would have no interest in it whatsoever.
I, I wish I did, but I don't have any interest. But I will be interested in definitely checking out whatever you produce in the future, whether I like the topic or not. I'm also writing a book, right now in the form of journaling, and then eventually to pull it all together, start publishing it on Substack, and then eventually, literally, what's it called, publishing a book. And it's not something that anybody's going to buy, or my close friends probably, and my family possibly. But it's just going to be a real true life story, my whole life story, which in the last 30 years or so, lots of friends and family members have encouraged me to write. And so I'm working on that. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. But I really think that's cool that you're working on a book, like with historic information and stuff like that, Rick. That's not as easy as what I'm working on. So good for you. It's awesome to hear. No more jumping out of planes lately.
Oh yeah, I have been. I'm up to, let's see, 5,914 now. I should make
Gosh,
6,000 by mid-March.
wow, that's insane. For those in the chat who aren't, well, I don't know. Rick jumps out of planes. He intentionally, for fun, jumps out of planes. So there's that. And someday when I haven't taken up so much time rambling, I'll have Rick talk to you guys more about that. But I want to ask Cherie, how many planes have you jumped out of recently?
0. And I never will. My cousin did it once and had pictures, but nah, I'm scared enough being in a plane, much less jumping out of it.
Completely agree 100%. That's me. You know me. My fears of flying have gotten even worse over the last few years. So yeah, I'm with you, soul sister, soul twin sister. So anyway, all right. So hello to everybody who's in the chat that's joining us, either on mobile or PC. I'm kind of initially I didn't like it at all because it was so confusing, but I feel like I've kind of figured out how it works and worked out some bugs, or Rick has explained things to me, others, and I've tried to, do a teeny tiny little bit of research on it. And we get a lot more traction, views, comments, using streaming both to mobile and PC. So I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, so Cherie, I've been kind of peeking, not really focusing on, but listening to some, how they have some streamers will, borrow or use courtroom Zoom trials and things like that and stream them to their channels for reaction. I guess they call that reaction videos. So I was listening to some, as I can listen to them as I try to do other things. And I actually listened to a couple recently that have to do with landlord tenant stuff. So I always think about you when I see those because they're really interesting. And I think, like you've said before, well, you've told me stories before about how difficult landlord tenant laws and cases are right where you live. So just watching some of these, small, or listening to some of these it's really interesting. And I can see where these would be really difficult cases. So, and props to you for even, taking all that on. So
Sometimes they can be very, what's the word? Not controversial, but
confrontational.
That's the word. Yep. But sometimes it's just pretty simple, but some of them are really rough. And it seems like the roughest ones, not always, for me, are the ones with family.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's unbelievable to me how nasty family members can be to each other, their own kids and grandkids. And,
Yeah. Parents.
yeah.
Yeah. I watched one, oh, probably a year or so ago, an entire not trial, but an entire case where it was two sons and a father, and the one son and the father were on one side, but they also separately had things. But then they were both against this other brother or son, whatever. It was insane, and the judge was losing his mind with these people. So, and their family. So yeah, great job on your part to be able to navigate that kind of law. It's not family law, but when it involves family, it feels like family law, I'm sure. So okay, so today what we're going to talk about is something that got very, I don't know, I'd say got very little attention during the trial and during the case, Daniel's trial and case. But there is some information that we've been able to um, kind of find that Brian Bates kind of talks about in a couple of his episodes on holtzclawtrial.com. And and there is some trial transcript that does have some conversation about it as well. So what we're talking about is, were there any other, I guess they call it third party, third party liability? Or I can't remember the term right at this moment.
Third party suspects.
There you go.
Sometimes, like in the Delphi trial, that Judge Gall would not allow it, which was BS. But those are the only two I can think of right offhand. The ones we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So yeah, third party suspects. Yeah. And what that means for anyone who isn't familiar with third party suspects, it means well, let's just, you know what, I think most people who might listen to this later will be able to relate to it this way. The Karen Reed trial, there was no third party suspect at all whatsoever investigated in the death of John O'Keefe. They focused in on one person almost immediately, and that was Karen Reed, and they never bothered to investigate or even look at the possibility of anyone else being involved in his death. So that's what we're kind of talking about here today. Were there any other police officers in or around Oklahoma City who could have possibly, been a third-party suspect in Daniel's case? Now, the reason this is hard for me is to even talk about this topic is because, in my opinion, there are only two of the accusers who I really feel like were sexually assaulted or raped. That was Terry Morris and Sherry Ellis. I believe both of them were assaulted, but I am 100% confident, and trust me, I have caught. Listen, if you guys go back to the last video we did, the last live stream we did, and go to the comment section, oh my gosh, I'm not talking about the video clip that we showed last time. I'm not talking about that video. I'm talking about the full 3+ hour video that we did that day. The comment section in there is wild. To me, it's wild. And so some really hateful people. Well, anyway, you can go read those comments if you're interested. Don't just read the initial comments, but also read the replies, because a couple of us go back and forth quite a bit, and then eventually I get snarky. So anyway, but there's so those are the only two that I feel like possibly or probably were assaulted in some way, shape, or form. So again, Terry Morris and Sherry Ellis. With I should pull up my video, the Sherry Ellis video from the deposition that we also did, just so that people can see um, her reaction during that. And in fact, if one of you wants to go, if Cherie or Rick want to go to the channel, our channel page, and find the Sherry Ellis, it's like 8 minutes long. And put that was used. I made that video, and it was used for news feed or whatever in the last regarding Daniel's case. So anyway, because I really want to play that one with Sherry Ellis, because I feel like it's really relevant to see how she reacts in that deposition regarding Daniel Holtzclaw. So, but we did know of two names in. I want to make sure I get off of this page so I don't show you this first. We did know of two others who were involved or not involved. What's the word I'm looking for? Who were employed at Oklahoma City Police Department, and they both worked out of the same substation where Daniel worked from. That was called the Spring Lake substation or whatever they called it. And so they were briefly mentioned in holtzclawtrial.com, episodes 5 and 9, I think. And again, like I said, a little bit in trial transcript that we'll go over and show you as we do this. So we're going to start with, what is this? Oh. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Is everybody fine if none of the three of us, only Rick's, brave enough to show his amazingly handsome face. But are you guys all fine, hopefully in chat, or if we just show the document itself and not our little faces? Because that's what I want to make sure you are able to see as much of this as possible. Especially over on the mobile side, I can see that it'll be much better for your viewing if you just see this document, not our faces. Okay, so Cherie, do you want to go through that? Cherie definitely is the one who pulled this together within minutes, literally. Do you want to go through this and discuss each of the bullet points? And because you're certainly probably much better equipped to do it than I am.
Well, I can start off anyway.
Okay, well, you don't have to. I mean,
well, Jeff Sellers he might still be, or maybe he's retired by now. I don't know, but he was an officer or a police officer at Oklahoma City Police Department, and back in I guess it was in 2006, he was caught having sex with prostitutes on duty, and he was fired, but he eventually got his job back through the Fraternal Order of Police, because Oklahoma City didn't do things correctly, such as wouldn't allow him to have counsel during one of his polygraphs, or maybe both of them. I can't remember. He had two, and he asked to have counsel with him, and they said no. And that was one of the reasons why he was able to get his job back. And secondly, this is about Terry Morris's case. When she originally came forward, it's a long story. kind of came forward. During an arrest, she said she was raped by a police officer, and for something during an arrest for something else. And she said, after they questioned her some more, she said that it happened a few days ago, which this was on April or May 24th. And she said, a few days ago, I was raped by a police officer. And she said it happened in downtown Oklahoma City near the rescue mission. So those two are, that's kind of an introduction to who they are. And then this comes from Brian Bates' podcast, episode 5. When they started, Rocky Gregory started to investigate her allegations, and then this outline goes through what he did. Somebody else want to help out?
Yeah, I don't think it was because they refused to allow him to have counsel.
Oh, okay.
If I remember right, it was his union representative. Whether that union rep was an attorney or not, I don't know. But
that's a good point.
In the case, it was described as a union rep.
Okay.
And there were actually 4 meetings that the rep was not allowed to attend. It was the meeting for polygraph 1, where the questions were agreed to before he took it. And then the pre-polygraph 2 meeting, where the questions were agreed to before he took it. There was another problem besides that, which caused him to get his job back, and that's because in the second polygraph, the examiner asked him a question that had not been in the pre-polygraph interview and had not been agreed to.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to share this. I just pulled up so I did some research. Let's see if this, whoops. So I've been using a new site called Perplexity, and Perplexity has its own search engine called Comet. And so I've been using Comet instead of Google. I can't remember the last time I did a search in Google, but I found, I asked, let me see if I can share this. So the question I asked in Comet, and Comet's an AI, just another AI platform or whatever, like Google or ChatGPT or Grok or anything else. It's just a different one. But when I've used it, I've found it to be pretty accurate with things I know to be factual or whatever. I found this to be fairly accurate as well. So anyway, I asked the question in Comet I said I wanted to discuss a very speculative, and I meant to say that at the very beginning, everything that we're going to talk about now with these 2 individuals that we're going to discuss, it's all my speculation, my opinions, my thoughts, nothing. I'm not accusing either one of these individuals of anything except for whatever is available, through public record, of course. But everything I'm saying is my opinion and my purely 100% speculative. So I'm just putting it out there for you guys to listen to and think about and contemplate on your own, because it's very interesting that there were no other people investigated as to who may have assaulted any of these accusers, but for me specifically, Terry Morris and Sherry Ellis. So I said that I wanted to discuss a speculative theory that Jeff Sellers could have been a possible third-party suspect in any of these assaults. So, and I specifically mentioned Terry Morris when I asked the question. And so what I got back was Terry Morris's description in the case record do leave room to speculate that there was a different officer, including Jeff Sellers, could have been the man she originally encountered. But there's nothing, like I said, official about that, mostly because there wasn't any other investigation. Listen, the thing of it is, in my opinion, the whole Janie Liggins thing happened, and Black Lives Matter got involved very, very rapidly. I would say within hours, if not just a few days. So that was it. I mean, now Black Lives Matter is involved, and there's fear, possible fear, from the city, of rioting and, tearing down the new MAPS division. The MAPS project was in the process, in the works, and a lot of the places downtown had been rebuilt and, refurbished and beautified, and, lots of, really great updates. And so they didn't want to risk, my opinion. I think it's one of the reasons why Holtzclaw was, why Daniel was targeted immediately. Janie Liggins, through her daughter, Marissa Liggins, got Black Lives Matter involved almost immediately, like I said, within hours. And when that hit the news, when Janie Liggins did her interview 4 days after the accusation, it's, the news said it was a black, a white cop is what they referred to Daniel as, assaulted a black woman. So Black Lives Matter was going nuts at that point. So again, this is where I'm getting myself off track. Sorry, guys. Anyway, it's just so hard to talk about one specific thing in our case because everything leads to something else in another, accuser story. So anyway, and for everybody, who wants to watch this on replay or watching it live and then want to get in the comments section and, come for me and, tell me I'm full of shit and I'm making stuff up or I'm delusional or I'm a racist bitch or a racist, CUNT or, I'm just trying to, blame black women. Screw you right now, because I don't care about what you think you know about me or about what I know, what we three know about the case. So, you know what? Go ahead and leave your comments because it only helps the channel. So do whatever. Anyway, so this whole thing with Terry Morris, like Cherie said, on May 24th, and let me just say too, before I get even further off track, this information comes from holtzclawtrial.com. And I don't, if Cherie or Rick wants to put the link to holtzclawtrial.com transcripts in the chat so other people can go through and, read for themselves, what Brian Bates put together, not as just some armchair true crime, weirdo, but as a real investigator who worked on Daniel's case. So you guys can read all this stuff yourself. I'm just going to skim through what Cherie pulled together for this conversation today. So this was from episode 5, where we're talking about Jeff Sellers. Let me just, I don't know, maybe some people are interested. I'm going to show you some pictures of Jeff Sellers, just so you guys can get an idea of what this man that we're talking about, what he looks like. or what he looked like back then anyway. Um, and, you know, for whatever reason, just so you can put a face to the name, right? So we'll share those really quick if I can make it work. I've had a hard time doing this in the past. Let's see if I can do it this way. Image file. Maybe that'll be the way it'll work. Again, Streamyard has done really great updates in their studio for well, I guess I don't know how that works, so I'll just start with this one and see how that pops up. Okay, so here is a picture of Jeff Sellers, and this again is everything I have of Jeff Sellers. All the images have come from Facebook. I believe his wife's Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, from a long time ago. So this is another picture. So he was arrested, or he was fired in, I don't think he was ever arrested. He was fired in, I think, 2006. I don't remember when these pictures were taken from Facebook. I don't think there were dates, but nonetheless, they were much closer to that time period of when he was fired, which again was around 2006. So I don't know, just because I know what I know about him, I just think he looks really creepy. That's a photo of him and his wife. And let's see, I think I have room for one more. Whoops. Yeah, this is a whole new thing to me from Streamyard, being able to use a image file and show to you directly. This one is of Jeff Sellers and his wife and their two kids. This was from Facebook also, but just because it's the right thing to do, these kids had nothing to do with it, but I blurred out the kids' faces. So at any rate, though, this was Jeff Sellers and his wife. And all of this, again, is closer to the 2006, perhaps a little bit beyond time period. And the blue stripe in here, that is just the photos that I did have, this one, that one, and this one. It says, I got your six, or, stuff like that, cop lingo. So that's all. And I just was trying to remove those, is all that is. Nothing that I'm trying to hide or anything like that. So anyway, that is what Jeff Sellers looks like. So we'll get back to Brian Bates' breakdown. So episode 5, and if you go through the transcripts, or if you listen to the podcast, you can, it's the timestamp here begins around 13:59 in episode 5, where Rocky Gregory is talking about his investigation of Carrie Morris's allegations, which took place on May 24th, 2014. That's when she made the allegation. It was a holiday weekend, I think Memorial Day weekend. And so this was into the middle of the night of the 24th that she did this allegation. And Rocky didn't get it until the following Tuesday, after the holiday, which was May 27th, 2014. Now, Rocky Gregory took her claims very seriously. And excuse me 1 minute. Um, if you go through holtzclawtrial.com and look at all the information regarding this first claim with Terry Morris, you'll find all kinds of information about how Rocky Gregory just really went above and beyond on that first day of trying to figure out who this cop was that sexually assaulted Terry Morris. So he first requested the names of all of the officers who had recently pulled up Terry Morris on their mobile data computer. What he found was that on April 11th, Jeff Sellers did a records check on Terry Morris. Early, that's something else I don't know if I mentioned. Sellers and Edwards both worked different shifts than Daniel. Daniel worked I don't know, second shift or a swing shift, whatever you want to call it. His shift, I think, was from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so anyway, Jeff Sellers was more on a day shift, and on April 11th at 8:56 a.m., he did a records check on Terry Morris. And then we have Daniel pulled Terry Morris up on the Varuna site on May 8th, 2014, around 9 p.m. And we have older videos where we've gone through this in very intensely and deeply, talking about this Terry Morris accusation. Daniel looked her up on the 8th of May, and that was it. He stopped her and had a conversation with her, and typical, what do they call it, Terry stop type investigation.
Yeah.
Terry stop investigation. But both they both times that they pulled up Terry Sellers and Holtzclaw pulled up Terry Morris's name, there were no warrants. And at that time on May 8th, well, now I have to remember. Terry Morris, this is important. Terry Morris. So this is the date that Daniel actually looked her up. The last time there's any record of Daniel looking up Terry Morris was May 8th. Terry Morris, on the 24th of May, when she made the allegation that she'd been raped by an Oklahoma City cop, that was basically her description. She didn't, identify a cop name or anything like that. She did end up eventually, after Rocky Gregory badgered and harassed and bullied her. Those are my descriptions of what Rocky Gregory did to Terry Morris. I don't know what Cherie thinks, or I think I know, but I'm not going to speak for Cherie or Rick about, how Rocky Gregory pursued Terry Morris, but it was relentless badgering and bullying, in my opinion. And if you watch the interviews that are available on YouTube and on holtzclawtrial.com, where Rocky Gregory is interviewing Terry Morris, you might feel the same way. I've also got videos that are pretty old now, well, old to me, at least a few years old, of these interrogations that, not interrogations, interviews that Rocky Gregory did with Terry Morris. It was gross. He just really angered me and pissed me off interviewing Terry Morris. But anyway, so there were no warrants. So she claimed that the initial allegation came on the 24th of May. At that time, Terry Morris said, that she was sexually assaulted on either May 20th or May 21st. She couldn't remember the exact date. Am I remembering that date right, Sheree? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So she claimed that when she was, well, in the 911 call, if you guys haven't listened to that either, I'm kind of doing this. We're doing this presentation for people who are more familiar with the case and have been, watched a lot of our older live streams and know what this information is. There's a 911 call video or played, and you can find that again on holtzclawtrial.com. I also have a video about this particular call. She's fighting with her ex-boyfriend, whose name was Saint Anthony. What was his name? We called him Saint Anthony, or Sheree called him Saint No, what was his name? Her ex-boyfriend.
Christopher Shelton.
Christopher Shelton. Saint Christopher, that's what Sheree called him, Saint Christopher. Anyway, he calls 911 that night because his girlfriend, he doesn't say his girlfriend, a friend, and I picked her up to take, she looked like she needed a ride. I saw her walking down the street, so I picked her up, and now she's tearing up my car, and can you come and get her? Basically, she is just, and you can hear Terry Morris in the background going batshit crazy on him and tearing stuff up and screaming and crying. And at one point in the 911 call, Christopher Shelton tells Terry Morris, I'm calling the police, and she's just screaming at him, and this is so much more context around this, but the point is that she said, now she's yelling at him and accusing him of, whatever, cheating on him or whatever the things were that she was saying. It's all in the transcripts, but he tells her, I called the police, and she said, now you called the police, the same motherfuckers that raped me the other night. And so she, in interviews with Rocky Gregory, she tells Rocky Gregory that she was assaulted on the 20th or the 21st. She couldn't remember exactly which one of those days, but she knew it was one of those. So she does give a description eventually, I think in the second time he interviewed her. It's been a while, but she does give a description of, the cop that she says assaulted her, which I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be, said that she, described Daniel in a sense. She said he was dark skinned, I believe, or looked like he had Italian or Mexican skin tone, and that he had dark hair, and that he was tall, I think she said, and stocky, like well built. I can't remember all her descriptions, but anyway, she gave that description vaguely, in my opinion. We're talking about a force, a subdivision or a substation that's got at least 20, 25 officers, on duty, or more actually at any given time. So anyway, she gives that description. So in Rocky Gregory's such amazing, deep concern for Terry Morris, he goes and finds looking for all this information, found out on, Jeff Sellers pulled her up in April, and that Daniel pulled her up on May 8th. And so she claims that, they found, neither one of those times that they pulled, well, we don't know this about Jeff Sellers because nothing was ever presented as far as I know. But we do know that Terry Morris said the night that she was assaulted, she was walking towards the city rescue mission. She's an addict. She's homeless. kind of living on the streets, very, very strung out on drugs. So the rescue mission was a place where I think they could kind of like a shelter in a sense, I guess, but not just a women's shelter. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly what the details were about it. But anyway, she was walking near the city rescue mission the night she was assaulted. And when Rocky pulled up, you know, records for Daniel and I guess Jeff Sellers for the dates of May 20th and May 21st, the day she claimed she was assaulted. Sellers was not working either night. Actually, Jeff Sellers at that time was on a light duty or something like that. He wasn't actually, I think he was doing like desk duty. And, there's no information to my knowledge of what that reason was, but he wasn't on the streets. He wasn't out on patrol during that time, during those dates. And I'll share my thoughts on that in a second. But also, Daniel was working both of those nights. He on the 21st, he was downtown for a county jail arrest, which was verified. But other than that, his ABL didn't show any unexplained or irregular behaviors, driving anywhere near the city rescue mission. Pardon me, I'm trying to drink water as I talk. Well, anyway, so he wasn't anywhere around where Terry Morris was, said she was picked up and assaulted. Now, I want to go back to Jeff Sellers. He wasn't working on either one of those nights. He was assigned to light duty or whatever. We also don't know, to my knowledge, whether or not Jeff Sellers had a take-home patrol car. I'm only assuming 100% speculating that he probably did, because he'd been on the force for many, many years before Daniel, and he was like a fixture in that substation. I don't know. I just, like I said, just guessing, assuming that he possibly did have a take-home vehicle, which makes me consider that just because he wasn't working and whether he was on light duty or not, to me, doesn't really matter, because if he had a take-home patrol vehicle, I don't know. The way my mind works, that's perfect predator fodder, I guess is what I should say. But, he would be able to, use his police vehicle, off shift or not. He's off shift, so he doesn't have to turn on his ABL computer stuff, and shouldn't, because he's not supposed to be, working on patrol. So I don't know. That's just, I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility. Just because he wasn't working and he was on light duty doesn't mean, if he had a take-home patrol car, doesn't mean that he couldn't have been out driving around the streets of Oklahoma City for whatever reason. At this point, we already know that he had been fired at one point, sometime in 2006, for picking up prostitutes in his patrol vehicle and having sex with them while he was working in his patrol vehicle. So those are just my dots that I connected in my own little weird way. But I don't know, Cherie and Rick, what do you guys think about that possibility?
Well, one of the things that I've always found interesting is they're like, okay, he wasn't working that night. Okay. Does that mean he couldn't have gone out in his uniform? No. I mean, a lot of departments nowadays, those computerized systems in the cars, the cops can't turn them off.
Right.
They turn on as soon as they start the car.
Right.
Or not
Now.
start the car, but enter the vehicle. That you know how the easiest way to explain it is like a seatbelt switch. If you're driving alone in your car without a passenger, the reason that your car doesn't beep about a seatbelt is because there's a pressure switch under that passenger seat. So if nobody's there, it doesn't turn on. If you have a passenger sitting over there without a seatbelt on, the car goes, oh, hey, there's a person there. They don't have their seatbelt on. I need to alert the driver. The systems that they put in the cruisers for this computerized stuff nowadays are like that. When you get in that car and sit down, it activates that system. You put the key in the ignition and you turn it on. Now, everybody try this little trick. Go out to your car, put your seatbelt on, start your car, and then reach down and unclick your seatbelt.
Uh-oh.
Your seatbelt warning for not being on is going to go off. That's the way they set up these computerized systems now. They immediately turn on with the pressure switch, and then once that ignition's on, it doesn't make any difference whether you're in that seat or not. It's going to keep running.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up my. Okay. I was looking at the other. That's kind of weird. So modern times, yes, that makes sense. You know, the way.
But back then they didn't do that.
Right.
And the reason they do it that way now is because departments across the world that use these systems have caught officers using an official vehicle for personal use, and they didn't log on to the system. So, okay, well, these people go, they're this officer. And they go back and they look in their little computer system. And, well, the computer says that they weren't on duty, so they couldn't have been there.
Right.
We had a case like that in Ohio just recently where an off-duty officer who had an official vehicle, he was in his patrol car, not in uniform, but in his patrol car, went out and got drunk and tried to drive home and ended up hitting 2 parked vehicles. And when the police showed up, they told the officers that showed up, it was a police car. We saw it. And the officers' immediate reactions were, no, that's not possible. There was nobody on a call in this area. Well, except the guy wasn't on a call. He was using his police vehicle to go to a bar and get drunk and drive home and passed out and hit 2 cars.
And there was no way there was no proof because of the AVL systems or.
Well, eventually they discovered he did it because he got back to his house, hid the cruiser in the barn that's on his land, and then called his captain and went, hey, I screwed up.
Yeah, well, good.
But the officers on
they don't
scene
have a choice, right?
Insisted that it could not have been a police car. Those people were lying. They were just wrong. They did not see what they saw.
Yeah.
Except they did.
They're lying eyes. Yeah. So Jeff Sellers, though, doesn't have, he's got free reign. Any cop at that time, actually, in Oklahoma City, had free reign, and they could absolutely if they had a take-home patrol vehicle, they could, ideally get in their patrol vehicle and, drive around and do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's only what my assumption, or not assumption, but my thought is, or my theory is, that it's possible Jeff Sellers, even though he was on light duty and not supposed to be, on patrol, and even though his AVL or GPS system doesn't show him near there, doesn't mean that he wasn't there or that he couldn't have been there.
Well, don't just limit it to Sellers.
Anybody, yeah.
Any officer who had take-home patrol car privileges could have been there,
Right.
without being logged in.
Right, exactly. But Holtzclaw was working and logged in and, had proof that he was nowhere near anywhere where Terry Morris was on the 20th or the 21st, when she claims that, says that she was assaulted. So now, presumably, Rocky Gregory, Detective Gregory, doesn't have any idea on this date, on the 27th, when he took this case, has no idea who Daniel Holtzclaw is, presumably. But at any rate, he's got the proof that Daniel was nowhere near Terry Morris on the 20th or the 21st of May. But he does have information that Daniel Holtzclaw pulled up information, actually stopped. Daniel actually did a Terry stop on Terry Morris on the 8th. So not only did he pull her up in the Varuna system that night, but he did do a Terry stop on the 8th. But that's a couple of weeks almost before Terry Morris says that she was sexually assaulted.
12 to 13 days, depending on which date is accurate.
Right. So ideally, you think, okay, then Daniel Holtzclaw is not a suspect either. Rocky Gregory, he expands his search and finds that there were no. He did a search to see all patrol officers who came within a 2-block radius of the city rescue mission that night, and nobody's AVL showed up on the 20th or the 21st. Then he started to, look a little bit closer at Terry Morris. She was homeless, like I said. She didn't have a cell phone. She didn't have anything but literally the clothes on her back, pretty much. When he starts looking into her, so he calls the timeline. It's in her police report, actually, that he writes for Terry Morris. The supplemental pages to her police report are insane. I never counted, but it appears that he looked for days to every possible way to find out anybody who knew Terry Morris or how he could find her. Because at this point, he's just trying to find her to interview her. Still in this first couple of days, and I called all the shelters, nonprofits, service, all the places, churches, things like that would help homeless people.
He searched for her more than the FBI searched for the Lindbergh baby back in the day.
It feels kind of weird. I should have pulled up the police report, Terry Morris's police report. We'll definitely. It's in another previous older video already. if anybody's interested in at least, taking a look at it. We go over the police report pretty extensively, but anyway, yeah, it was nuts how much he tried to get information on Terry Morris's location, trying to find her. Now, again, this is on the 27th of May, and this is 3 weeks almost before Janie Liggins makes her accusation against Daniel Holtzclaw. So you wonder, okay, well, I mean, if every cop, I guess, was that diligent about trying to find a so-called victim or an accuser of a sexual assault, if every cop does that kind of work in a 24-hour period, that's awesome. I'm telling you, it was insane the amount of searching he claims to have done. Not just Rocky Gregory, but also the Lieutenant Timothy Musney gets involved with Rocky Gregory looking for Terry Morris. It was so weird to me that the sex crimes lieutenant leaves his office and his work to go out and do these really intense searches with a detective trying to find this person who was sexually assaulted. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It could be that way across the board or in a lot of offices. I have no idea. It just seemed kind of weird to me, but that's just me. But he called all the known numbers that he could find that were associated with Terry Morris. He called Christopher Shelton, her ex-boyfriend, and left a voicemail for him. Didn't actually speak to Christopher Shelton at that point. And he was able to get in touch with Terry's grandma, but Terry's grandma said she hadn't seen Terry in about a month, which when we get into the Terry Morris case altogether, kind of sounds suspect, but whatever. It's not significant. So in episode 5 at the 3731 timestamp in holtzclawtrial.com, Bates is talking about when Rocky Gregory had found Terry Morris again for the second time. First time he interviewed Terry Morris, she was tweaking so hard. It's actually sad because they leave her in the interview room for I don't know. I really don't know how long, but it was several minutes, at least 5 minutes, if not more. And we could see her on the camera, that's recording in the interrogation room. You can just see her coming down hard, and it's sad to watch. It's just sad to watch. Somebody that heavily drugged, to see them when they're coming down. At least that's how I felt. Anyway, so that was the first interview. She declined. She cried and told Rocky Gregory, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be involved. Please don't make me, try to, not bring a suit, but please don't try to, make me be a part of this case. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to move back to California with my aunts, and I don't want to be. And so finally, after, Rocky, well, not after, because he continued to badger her, but eventually, I don't know, 15 minutes or so into this first interview, Rocky Gregory says, okay, well, I'm going to have to, if you don't want to press charges on this cop, then, I can't force you, but you're going to have to sign a refusal to prosecute form or something like that. So she does. She signs it. While she's signing it, he's still badgering and bullying her. And that was on still before June 18th, when Janie Liggins makes her accusation. I believe it was June 3rd was the date of that first interview. So he found her, and they did a photo lineup. Well, this was during the second interview. During the second interview, he tracks her down again, like in my opinion, weirdly, bizarrely, continues to track Terry Morris down after she signed the refusal to prosecute form. Doesn't want anything to do with the case, made that very clear, signed her name to it. He still tracks her down. He finds her eventually. And this was, oh gosh, the date. I used to know these dates like the back of my hand. I'm really sorry that I can't remember as readily as I used to be able to. But a short time later, he finds her again. And all of this time that he's searching for her, from the first day all the way to the second day, when, the second interview, he enlists the help of other officers who offer Rocky Gregory their confidential informants to tell Rocky Gregory where this alleged victim of sexual assault is. I don't know. He's looking for a victim the way they should be. All cops should be looking for a suspect, in my opinion. I guess that's the easiest, fastest way. I should have said that. Anyway, he finds her, the confidential informant tracks her down, and lets Rocky Gregory know where she is, what time she's going to be there, and all the stuff that CIs do, all the information they give up. And so Gregory sends out a patrolman to pick her up and or stop her, do a Terry stop on her. And he convinces her to do a photo lineup of cops that could have been the one who sexually assaulted her. Jeff Sellers, to my knowledge, Cherie, you're going to have to remind me, but I don't believe Jeff Sellers was a part of that photo lineup.
No, that's the point. That's why I put it in there, because
second interview was on June 24th.
Okay, June 24th. Thank you. The first one was June 3rd, then the 24th, and then the third one we'll talk about later when we do the Terry Morris episode or trial transcript reading. Because the third one is when the shit hit the fan. But anyway, because of Rocky Gregory and Timothy Musney. So yeah, sorry, I didn't go down there far enough. So she does a photo lineup. There's 6 cops. I don't know. The guy who did Higginbottom was the officer's last name. He did a photo lineup and showed her that it all sounded very proper and everything, because this is also recorded. There's no video of it, but it's recorded so we can hear it. I don't know. He sounded, on the up and up, like, he was doing it properly and everything. I don't think there were any questions about the way the photo lineup was given. But
I do, having seen a discussion about how they put the photos in order.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Right. And they didn't include Jeff Sellers. And it appears that he intentionally left Sellers out of the mix. But he did put in another officer, Officer Jeff Dutton, who, from all accounts and all the research I did, I couldn't find any negative information whatsoever about Jeff Dutton whatsoever. But if they had looked at Jeff Sellers, there was gonna be some shit that was gonna come up from his past. Having sex with prostitutes while he's on duty in the back of his patrol car, kind of stuff. Anyway, so but to kind of talking about the photo lineup, in the very first interview that Gregory does with Terry Morris, he asks her then if she would look at a photo lineup, and she lost her shit. She's like, no, I don't want to see him. I don't want to. So she was like, looking at a photo lineup was like, it was definitely a hill she was going to die on. She did not want to see a picture of the cop that assaulted her. And I get that. So here we are now at this photo lineup that he's badgered and bullied her. If you listen to that recording, he badgers and bullies her into looking at this photo lineup. And it's sad. Again, it's another sad interview because you can tell she is, she's tweaking. She needs a fix. And, here's Rocky Gregory interviewing her like you would think the cops would interview a suspect. But anyway, so there's a picture of Jeff Dutton who, I don't know why they would put him in there, and but not a picture of Jeff Sellers. And I think I assume, I speculate why they didn't put Jeff Sellers' picture in there. But when she was doing the photo lineup, she pointed to a couple of different pictures, and we believe that one of those was Jeff Dutton and the other one was Daniel Holtzclaw. She can't decide which one between the two it was. I think I didn't pull up a picture of Jeff Dutton, and I should have. I have an opinion that of the two, Jeff Dutton and gosh, I'm going to have to pull it up. I'll try to do it. Jeff Dutton and Jeff Sellers, I don't want to say they look alike or they resemble one another, because they don't really, but they're both have some of the same features and smiles, maybe hair color, skin tone. They both, match in some of those superficial ways, where Daniel is light-skinned and he's Asian, half Asian, very light-skinned, and has dark hair. So she's trying to choose between Holtzclaw and Officer Dutton. I'll just let you all think about, what you want to make of that, and listen to this particular episode. Go back and watch our previous videos about Terry Morris's accusation, and see what you think. So as she's doing this photo lineup, she's back and forth. Oh, I don't know. But she never did end up finally settling on one picture. It came down to the two, Officer Dutton and Daniel Holtzclaw. So we already said that Jeff Sellers was left out of the photo lineup. Whatever. It's like so annoying to me when I go back over these things that I haven't really looked at in a long time. So okay, thank you. This is Cherie here. She's so good at this kind of stuff, and I'm not. But the reason why Jeff Sellers should probably have been part of that photo lineup was because he was the only other officer that Rocky Gregory could find who had recent contact with Terry Morris, and that was April 8th or whatever it was, April 4th. And then, of course, the second one was Daniel Holtzclaw on May 8th. Those were the only two in however far back he went. I think they went back to the beginning of 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So why wouldn't he? Listen, I've got to get back over to, I hate having to do this way. It frustrates me. But why wouldn't you include both officers who had had recent contact with her or with a victim? Why wouldn't you include them both? That's my way of thinking. I've never been a cop. You know, we talked about it, and I learned a lot about a lot of law enforcement rules and laws and ethics and oaths and all that in criminal justice. I learned about it. So, but I've never been one. I've never done the work. But I do know somebody who has. Rick,
Yeah,
would
they
it
both
make
should have been
sense?
included.
That's what I thought too. But they weren't. Only Daniel.
Yeah, and I have a
Dan-
problem with the way Gregory described how it's their policy to do photo lineups. He just says, oh,
Yeah.
we go out and get 6 pictures with one of them being the person we think did it, and we put the photo of that person somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. You go out and get 6 photos of people who kind of look like the description that was given, with one of them being the suspect you're trying to identify. And see if
Right.
the witness can pick out that person. You don't just go
Right.
out and get 6 random pictures.
Yeah. And not include
And not include one of the potential suspects, yes.
Right. Yep, exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought too, but again, just based on my education, not experience, but that's what I also thought. It just didn't make any sense to throw in a guy who kind of could maybe resemble. I know I actually have a picture of. I can't help myself. I have to.
The way I was taught to do them, like I said, you go out and you find photographs of people that kind of maybe resemble that description. And you don't just stick the actual suspect somewhere in the center. What you do is you put the photos face down, you shuffle them like playing cards, and you slide them into the photo array. You know who it is that you're trying to get the witness to identify. So it doesn't make any difference where in the array they're at. You know which one it is.
Right. I have the photo of Jeff Dutton and Daniel side by side. But I kind of cropped Dutton out of it because I've never really. But I have it. It's just where it is. I don't know. I mean, I don't have to show it. I don't know. I guess what I'm really saying, even though it may not seem right, or it's 100% speculative, 100%, is that, there's you can make the leap that, Jeff Sellers and Jeff Dutton could be maybe confused, possibly. Based on just their appearance, completely separate from Jeff Dutton. Anyway, I'm trying to look for pictures and talk at the same time. I can't do that. I'm not capable. And Under Your Scars, thank you for checking this out and listening. I appreciate you. So I'll get back to this outline. Okay, so anyway, he, it was I don't know, it was just it was sketchy to me. That's all I'm going to say. And for those people in the comment section from the last time who are telling me that I'm making things fit, to support my own narrative and all that stuff, it's not at all what I'm doing, what any of us are doing. We're just bringing the information that we know to be factual based on all the legal documents. That's just it. I'm not making up anything or trying to make anything fit my narrative or my belief. What I am doing right now is sharing my own theories and ideas for others to consider, that there's a possibility that Jeff Sellers could have been involved in the Terry Morris assault. And then, as Cherise pointed out, it was January 2006. Oklahoma newspaper reported that Officer Jeff Sellers had been fired from the department as a result of an internal affairs investigation that determined that he had had sex with at least one prostitute while in uniform and on duty. And that was, again, 2006. That prostitute reportedly made a monetary claim against the city for alleged damages. I don't know how that turned out. Cherie, do you know how that ended up?
No, I don't. I don't know whether she got anything.
Okay. Well, as is Oklahoma City's, common practice, pay her off and shut her up is, kind of what their go-to seems to be. Anyway, due to the binding arbitration that occurred, Oklahoma City PD was forced to rehire Jeff Sellers. Detective Gregory was asked if he found it concerning that Officer Sellers had recent contact with Morris and that he was also known to have sex with prostitutes while on duty. Detective Gregory claimed he didn't. Oh, I do remember this. He didn't really know anything about that incident with Jeff Sellers. But it was, at the time, it had been widely reported and talked about in the department. So whatever. Whatever, Rocky. He's a vile human being. So, as disturbing as that fact that Officer Sellers was left out of the photo lineup, this is kind of what goes to what Rick was talking about. Rocky Gregory talks about in the jury trial transcripts. He talks about, and Cherie's, quoting, question. This is page 3,312 of the jury trial transcript. Question: whenever you assemble a lineup, what are you trying to do? Answer from Detective Gregory: basically what we do is we get 6 pictures together, and then we have who we think maybe is the possible suspect somewhere in the middle of them. And we're just trying to see if the victim can identify who we think it is. And that, it goes back to what Rick was just talking about. This detective admitted that they allowed their bias to dictate the direction of their investigation all the way down to what photos are used in the potential photo lineup. So, Cherie, that was really a great outline. Thank you so much for doing that, because again, it absolutely is at least something to consider, in my opinion. So, I think in our opinions. All right. So, Jeff Sellers, I believe, could have been a potential suspect, at least in the Terry Morris assault. But I believe there's a transcript. I want to see if I can. I'm pretty sure I pulled up the transcript part about this too. Hold on, let me find it.
It's in the Discord.
Oh,
If you're talking about the PDF of the transcript that talks about Edwards. I don't know.
okay, that one's for Alexander Edwards. Okay, that's okay. At any rate, there's, you know, you check out this this information on holtzclawtrial.com, episode 5, the Terry Morris allegations. And then you know, we have the timestamps where it's discussed, where Jeffrey Sellers is discussed, 1359, and then again at 3731. So I don't know, you guys. Like I said, I think there's every reason to at least think about and consider Jeffrey Sellers as a possible. And it does, like I said, it doesn't matter to me that he was on light duty at that time and not, you know, evidently not on patrol. Like Rick said, you know, especially back in 2014. I want to address this from, I think it was from the Janie Liggins clip I posted, you know, several weeks ago that this conversation took place. But somebody argued with me in the comment section on that, telling me that I was blatantly wrong. This person, you know, believes down in his toenails that Daniel Holtzclaw disabled or didn't turn on his dash cam during these stops, and particularly talking about the Janie Liggins stop. This guy argued with me back and forth with me several times about, and at one point, and I told him, I said, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Oklahoma City PD was not using dash cams during this time period when Daniel was working for OKC PD. You are blatantly wrong, he told me. And I am blatantly 100% correct, and this guy is wrong. And Rick kind of talked about this, I think, last time when we talked, when we broke down that clip.
Yeah. They didn't have them.
Yeah. Nor body cams.
If I remember correctly,
cams,
the approval of funds had for them had gone through, but they were not yet installed.
Right, and they were. It had been, I guess, added to their policy and procedures manual, I guess. But
they had approved the procedures that would go along with the new dash cams. Yeah, but the cameras themselves were not installed.
Right. So I told the guy he was blatantly wrong, and I mean, honestly, at some point, I'm fine to have, you know, back and forth, respectful, productive debates with people or arguments with people in the comment section. I love it. I mean, I'm the one who's always doing the TLDRs because I especially when it comes to this case, because I know so much about it. I had to, you know, I have so much facts and information about it that, you know, I'm fine if people want to tell me I'm wrong about something or challenge me on something. But if I make a statement on the channel in a live stream or any kind of post I make or any video clip, if I make a statement about it, unless you hear me say that I don't have evidence of it or I'm just speculating or it's my opinion, then you can either take it or leave it that what I'm sharing is factual information. It doesn't matter to me either way. At some point, if you're just going to continue arguing with me when I tell you that I have the factual information, I'm going to start getting snarky and maybe a little bitchy. And I'm just going to just kind of, you know, blow you off at some point, because life's hard enough. than to argue with people sitting behind their damn keyboard, you know, trying to tell me that I'm a liar or I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to this case.
Yeah, I tend to do that as well sometimes.
Well, I'm willing to have the back and forth, right? Like, as long as things are being respectful and, you know, nobody's, you know, without evidence telling me that I'm wrong about something and they don't have anything to back up what they're saying, except for what they've, I think it might have been in this. I've had more comments in those last two videos than I've had in any comment section on any video at any other time before. It was pretty wild, which I love. Let's bring it. Let's do it. Let's bring it on. Let's get in the comment section and talk this shit out, because I'm not an expert, but I know what I know. And I know what is facts, and I know what, you know, the information is. I know it. I just know it, not because I'm all knowing or because I did some, you know, random little bits of research here and there, but I mentioned to somebody in one of those comment sections, I can always tell where people get their information from by the comments they make.
Yep.
And I told that guy that told me I was
100%.
Yeah, you can tell. And I told the guy who was, you know, telling me that I was blatantly wrong about the dash cams. I told him, I said, I know exactly where that came from. There was I'm bad with the years. I'm sure one of you two remember, but I think it was in 2016, 2020, did like a 4-part little mini series about Daniel's case, and the title of it was "What the Dash Cam Didn't Show."
Yes, I remember that.
That title alone is where that's what. And I told the guy, I know exactly why you think you believe what you believe, because that's what ABC 2020 titled their little mini series, was "What the Dash Cam Didn't Show." There was no freaking dash cam at all. So for them to title their little documentary that way was very misleading, very misleading. But yeah, and so I always know when people are getting their information from mainstream media bullshit, because I can tell by the way they, you know, comment in the comment section. You know, about different things about the case. So I don't know. I didn't do good, and I excused myself for, you know, just not preparing at all this last week or so. But I know that was I let it,
sweetheart.
I'm not, the fact that I'm not crying is really kind of surprising to me, to be quite honest, but it's okay. I've got another channel that I created almost a year ago for that, which I've never used. So that's on me. So anyway, so that kind of is a, Annie's on the ball. Yeah, Annie's on the ball. Yeah. Referencing, I don't know how if anybody else ever heard from Annie. I know several people emailed her and, you know, made comments to her in her comment section, but we're just small potatoes next to nothing compared to, well, nothing compared to her. So I never did hear back from her. I think I sent her 2 emails. I'm not going to beg somebody to defend themselves. So it's whatever on her. Is she still talking? Is she doing more? I don't even know. She doesn't even come up on my feed anymore on YouTube. So if she does do another thing, though, about Daniel's case, y'all let me know, because we'll definitely come back and fact check her for sure. But,
you'll be able to figure it out, because you'll see a bright red glow in the east, and the next time you see me, I'll be bald.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't even, here's how irrelevant she is to me. I can't even, I know her name's Annie. That's all I can remember about her name. She thinks a awful lot about herself, and she's convinced a lot of other people who I've respected before. Uh, she's convinced them that she is the shit. So that's whatever. That's all on them. So I apologize for leading you all over hell and back with the Terry Morris information. Again, I just think it was worth considering deeper investigation into Jeff Sellers when Rocky Gregory was so insanely, intensely trying to find, Terry Morris so that he could try to make her listen. I'm going to tease a little bit for those who don't know the case very well and don't know about Terry Morris. I'm going to tease a little bit because we will for sure be bringing, doing her trial transcripts and preliminaries and her police report. But the intensity with which Rocky Gregory tried to find Terry Morris for weeks and continued to badger her for information about this cop who assaulted her, it's insane to me. Just bizarrely insane. And I think it's, I don't know. Maybe this is a biased part of me to feel like there's something weird that he tried so desperately to track her down and get her to, make an accusation about a cop, but then not fully investigate both officers who had contact with her.
He didn't want to investigate both of them. Remember the timing of this. They wanted to make a pattern of behavior so they could get Daniel for everything they could pin on him. Remember when we did the Bullwinkle, what's her name? Rocky's partner.
Kim Davis.
And she was asked that interview and she was asked, well, did you tell them to test for this, and did you tell them to ask them to test for that? And she blatantly said the quiet part out loud. No, why would I do that? If they did that, it wouldn't help my case.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, this is the Gregory version of Kim Davis not asking the lab to do those other tests that could have given exculpatory evidence. He didn't want Sellers' picture in there because he didn't want her to identify anybody but Daniel.
Right.
And it almost backfired on him because she actually looked at this other guy and went, well...
Mm-hmm. Could have been Jeff Dutton. No. Are you sure it wasn't? I mean, that didn't happen, at least from, what we hear in the recorded interview of that photo lineup, that it wasn't done like that. But Higginbottom, Gregory was nowhere near, allegedly, where Higginbottom did this photo lineup. So he wasn't able to be, and rightfully so, he wasn't able to be, coaching her. And I don't know. I mean, Gregory says that Higginbottom had no idea about any of the case, any of the accusations. With all he did was show up to do the photo lineup with no knowledge of the accusations or who was involved. So all we have, I kind of believe that Higginbottom was, I don't know. I think Higginbottom eventually turned out to be kind of a dick because if anybody watches First Amendment audit videos, Higginbottom. I can't remember his first name. You remember, Cherie, what Higginbottom's first name was?
Daniel rings a bell, but I couldn't swear to it.
I know it does. It did to me too. But Higginbottom is such a long and different last name. That's all I can think of is the last name because it's such a distinctive, for some reason, last name. But anyway, for First Amendment audit videos, if you've ever watched any of those, there's one. There's an Oklahoma 1A auditor who whether or not you like First Amendment audit videos is really neither here nor there. This guy, the name of the channel is called Guerrilla Publishing, and his first name is Ron. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head, but he goes all over Oklahoma.
By the way, is also criminal charges. I knew I remembered that.
What about criminal charges?
Yeah, he's also facing criminal charges.
Higginbottom is?
Yep.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, no. The grand jury failed to failed to indict him.
Oh, dang it. I'm all dang it.
I looked it
That's
up. It is Daniel. His name is
Daniel. It is Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw his picture of the first story that came up. That's how I knew it was him. Yeah, apparently he shot an unarmed guy in 2023.
I remember that now. I vaguely remember that. Story. It was a pretty big story, actually, at the time in Oklahoma. So this guy Ron, he's a former attorney, criminal attorney in Oklahoma. I think Tulsa is like his hub, his home. I'm not really sure, but anyway, his first name is Ron. He's a former attorney, and he's been screwed over by the system, as a criminal defense attorney. Legitimate. I mean, his story is legitimate. So now he just goes around to the different, usually really small towns in Oklahoma, and pulls public records on whatever corruption is brought to his attention in any given town. So he does I don't remember exactly where it was, but I think it was Tulsa. It might have actually been Oklahoma City, but so Daniel Higginbottom, the same Higginbottom who gives this photo lineup to Terry Morris years earlier in 2014, he's used, by now they have body worn cameras, and for whatever reasons, this attorney Ron from Guerrilla Publishing gets arrested. They're always arresting him on literally bullshit charges, because he ends up, the charges get dropped and he gets released and everything. So that they're bullshit charges. But anyway, he gets arrested. At some point, though, there's a video. I'll have to see if I can find that video, you guys, and share it, at least in Discord, for anybody who wants to watch it. But Higginbottom somehow, for some reason, ends up showing up after this attorney gets arrested, and he's activated his body-worn camera. And I don't know, you can, it's a purely opinion if you think that Higginbottom was being kind of an ass during this particular arrest or not. But anyway, he gets in his patrol vehicle to leave the scene altogether, and he can't figure out how to turn off his BWC. And they show this on video because this attorney Ron has pulled the public records and obtained the body-worn camera footage. So part of that footage shows Higginbottom in his patrol car, yakking and, messing with his BWC and, telling, I can't figure out how to turn this thing off. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, again, Cherie, you're supposed to stop me when I'm getting sidetracked like that. Anyway, I'll see if I'll find that video. It's on Guerrilla Publishing's YouTube page, and I'll find it and put it in Discord for you to watch if you want to, just because it's funny. So anyway, he's kind of, I don't know, I felt like Higginbottom was kind of a dick, in some of that video, and then to watch him be a complete ass trying to figure out how to turn off the camera was funny to me. But anyway, so I don't know. He didn't sound. He seemed legit. You know, on this July 23rd photo lineup time. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? It's hard. It's why it's hard for me to Higgins. Well, you know what? Higgins is fine. Oh, geez, Higgins. Wasn't that the dude in Karen Reed's Lava? According to him, what was his name? Brian Higgins.
Yeah.
Oh, under your scars. That's so sad. Oh yeah. Or Cherie, if you need to go, you can go. I'm so sorry. I just now saw your message. We can do that if you want to, or I can, you know, we can just finish, because this next one's not going to really take very much time, honestly. There's just not really, because nothing was ever really talked about in Daniel's case with this person.
Okay, yeah,
So,
that makes a difference. If it's, I was just thinking it's been 2 hours, but you're right. It won't take that long to cover Alex.
well, this could have been a 1 hour long live stream if I didn't talk so much about shit that isn't, you know, part of the conversation. But okay, so I think Cherie needs to go. I think she has another obligation. Not to mention it's much later for her than it is for me. So we'll go through this one because, like I said, there really isn't very much information about this one. But now we're going to talk about, let's see, this guy. Now, this guy, again, everybody can just look at this guy and make an opinion of your own. This man's name is Alexander Edwards. Alexander Edwards was a Oklahoma City police officer, worked in the exact same substation that Daniel and Jeff Sellers worked in. And I believe he did I believe his shifts, and I have all the logs and everything that we'll go over in more detail when we get into some of the different accusers transcript readings. But I think that he was the same shift as Daniel, at least sometimes, but not always at the same time as Daniel, if that makes any sense. So this is a officer who in 2016 was terminated from Oklahoma City Police Department. For the reasons that he was terminated was because he had been having sex while on duty in his patrol car with prostitutes. And he was fired for this. And he, I don't know, I just want you guys to look at this guy. This happened to him in 2016. Well, I shouldn't say happened to him, but it occurred in 2016. And this is information, his arrest information, when he was arrested on this charge. He was working with the FBI on a sting that was investigating prostitution, sex trafficking, and stuff like that. So he was giving information to one specific, they do mention one specific prostitute that he was having sex with. her name isn't really important, but he got caught giving her information about this sting operation and how it was, what they were doing, how they were doing it, how they were, trying to check people out, make their case.
He got himself on a federal task force and then was warning the targets of that task force that they were coming, is what he was doing.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Exactly what Rick said. Much quicker. So he was arrested on October 15th of 2016 and bailed himself out. His age was, at that time, he was 36 years old. He was 5'9", 200 pounds, black, male. And he was, here's the charges: aiding and abetting prostitution and lewdness, conspiracy to commit a felony, as Rick mentioned, as Rick, said, and obstructing justice, trying to tank the FBI investigation. So it says 4 charges, but for whatever reason, I'm only getting 3. But anyway, so he got fired, and he got his wrist slapped. He got a plea deal, and never did any jail time except for this particular, time that he was there. And I just want to leave that image in your mind for a second, and I want to play this, and I'll make this the last thing. I think Cherie or somebody put this in Discord. We're going to play this video, and then I'm going to we'll end the live stream, and I'll leave you kind of hanging with this little nugget of my opinion. Oh, good job, Cherie. Thank you. I won't show that now, but I want to show this video. It's about a little over 8 minutes long, and then damn it, and then we'll end the stream for the day, and we can talk more about it at another time. So here is this video I want to show you. Okay, and again, this is a video that I made for the news media, to share for the family to share with the news media. So I don't have it uploaded, so we're just gonna see it this way. Okay. Here we go.
Hello?
Is this Sherry?
Yes?
Sherry, this is Detective Davis.
Yes, ma'am?
Okay. You sound frantic in your messages.
Oh, yeah, because I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. That's why I've been wanting to find you and just ask you something, okay?
Okay.
I have received a tip on, I work in sex crimes, and I've been working some cases, and I received a tip that you may have been sexually assaulted by a police officer.
Yes, I have. But I didn't say anything because I know that I know police department and police things all stick together.
Well, we ain't sticking together on this one.
Oh, okay.
So I would like to interview you.
I didn't ever get his badge number. I don't know anything. I was terrified. I just didn't know what was going on because he said I'll do that, or he was going. I don't know. I didn't know whether if I still did it, or is he going to take me to jail or what. He was a black man.
Okay.
He was in a black and white police car.
He was a black man.
Sherry, I believe you. If I didn't believe you, I wouldn't have been calling you, trying to find you. Okay. Let me ask you this. Tell me your description of him.
He's black,
Okay. He's black male,
muscular.
muscular. How tall could you tell? You're pretty tall. How tall are you? How tall are you?
5'11".
Is he taller than you or shorter than
Maybe
you?
like right here, maybe like that.
So you think he's shorter than you?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of car did he have?
A black and white one.
Black and white car?
Oklahoma City police car.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this. I want to get a DNA sample from you today. And the reason I want to get a DNA sample is because I know what officer did this to you. Okay. And there is some unknown female DNA on his pants that I took. And I want to see if it's yours. This is a waiver saying that you are going to let me, Kim Davis, and I'm a detective, and this is where we're located, are going to let me take buccal swabs, just Q-tips from the inside of your mouth to get a DNA sample so I can compare it to the DNA on his pants. Okay? One more question. When you described him as a black male, what, and I don't know, everybody's like, are you? Are you a medium color? What's your skin tone to you?
I'm white.
You're like, okay, what was he?
He's darker.
He's darker than you? Darker than your skin tone? Okay.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You state your full legal name?
Sherry Louise Michelle Smith.
Who contacted you? If you
Kim
recall?
Davis.
Detective Davis?
Yes.
Okay. And where did she call you on the phone, or did she meet you in person?
She called me on the phone.
Okay. And what did you tell her on the phone?
She asked me if I had any she asked me if I had any problems with the police officer, and I told her yes.
Did you meet her in person after the phone call?
Yes, sir.
And where did that meeting take place?
The DA's in that building next to the courthouse.
Okay. How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11"? All right. And do you recall explaining to Miss Davis how tall this officer was that assaulted you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I'm going to hand you another exhibit. We marked it as exhibit number 4. That's a video still of you explaining to the officer how tall the person was that assaulted you. Do you recognize yourself in that image?
Yes, sir.
Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, how tall did you tell was the person that assaulted you?
I don't recall how tall I said he was, but I did say that he was shorter than I was.
Okay. And we say shorter than you by about how much? I mean, in that image, it looks like you're holding your hand up maybe to your shoulders.
Yeah.
So he came up to about your shoulders.
Yeah.
So maybe what, 5'5", 5'6",
Yes.
a shorter man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And how else would you physically describe the officer other than by height?
I had said that he was black. He was dark complected. I think black. That's what I said.
I'm marking this plaintiff's exhibit A. I have a copy for you here. Miss Alice, do you recognize this individual?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How do you recognize that person?
From court.
Okay. Do you recognize that person from any other time in your life?
No.
At the time you were at trial, did you believe you had seen that individual before?
No. I've seen him. During trial, that's when I seen him.
Okay.
Super sorry. I just want you to pay really close attention to this part. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to back it up a little bit because I want you to pay very close attention. I believe this is Ellis's attorney speaking right now, asking her questions right now. So let me see if I can just back that up. Go ahead.
I think it maybe it's, is it Hankins, the one that was Daniel's attorney in between, after?
Yeah.
And before the current one?
Yeah, he was, Hankins was who was the first attorney questioning her. So, but now this one is, I believe, her attorney representing her in the civil deposition suit. And I can't remember what his name was. I don't know if it was Crump. For some reason, it wasn't Crump. I don't think Crump, it wasn't Benjamin Crump that represented Sherry Ellis. I can't remember his name though, but it was somebody else. Okay, so pay really close attention to this last part of this clip.
Did you believe you had seen that individual before?
No. I've seen him.
Okay. Had you had any interaction with that man to your knowledge?
Besides him. It's besides, it's when I finally seen who accused of raping me.
Okay. So, oops, I guess I need to add us all back to the stage. Sorry. Okay, so listen, that 8-minute clip is on our page, on our channel, and for you to go and watch yourself over, however many times you want to. The picture that her attorney that was on her right that he showed to her was the picture of Daniel when he was first very soon after he graduated from the academy, and he's standing next to a black and white patrol car, which she said the officer who raped her was driving, which I show you in that video was not the car that Daniel was driving on that night. I think her assault took place, I believe, May 7th or May 8th, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, she described a black and white patrol car. At that time, Daniel was absolutely, to whoever you were in the chat comments from the video clip a while back, Daniel was driving at that time of Sherry Ellis's accusation. He was driving the black Ford Interceptor. I can't remember the name of it. He was driving the new black Ford vehicles that OKC had recently purchased. The picture that her attorney showed her was from when he had very recently, within, I want to say 6 months after he graduated from the academy. That's why you see him standing in front of a black and white vehicle. And that's a picture that her attorney showed to her. So when she's looking at that picture saying, no, I've never seen him, I've never seen this cop before, it's because she hadn't. I believe in my gut, every fiber of my being, she had never seen Daniel. And she said it in that deposition that she had never seen the officer in that picture until the trial, when they showed her who they accused of raping her. I took those words when I made the video right from the deposition transcript. I didn't listen and try to make that fit in to the other person who accused me of making shit up in the Liggins clip. I don't know if I have permission to share the actual transcript itself, but as far as this video with Sherry Ellis, I took the words right from the transcript to make the subtitles, and the same with Liggins, the Liggins clip. I took it from the transcript and to the subtitles. So you guys, you can think about that video clip with Sherry Ellis. You can process that in all the ways that you want to or need to. Find it on our YouTube channel. I'm not sure if it's in a playlist. I don't know if I have a playlist yet for Sherry Ellis of old videos, but anyway, it's there. Just search Sherry Ellis on the page and it'll pop up, I'm sure. I believe when I saw her testify in that deposition, she's holding back her sobs, in my opinion, trying not to break down sobbing, when it seems like she realized in those moments she might have accused the wrong person of assaulting her, of raping her. Not only does she say this in her deposition that she had never seen him before, when she was asked during the trial or the preliminary hearing, one of the two, and we'll read it eventually for you, they asked her to identify the person that's in this courtroom. She couldn't identify Daniel even then, and they basically pointed him out where he was sitting and who he was sitting between, and she didn't recognize Daniel then. So at the end of that video, when I post that, when she says that she's never seen him before, and she seems to be trying to not break down sobbing, I think it was that moment that she might have realized she had accused the wrong person of raping her. Again, I don't know that. I don't know why she was crying. We don't know why she was so emotional during that part, but she was, and that's the way it seemed to me and appeared to me. And like I said, this video was made for the family to give to the media. So say what, think what you want, make up your own mind, at least for Ellis's description of who she believed raped her. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The last slide on that video that I just showed you, it says that he was found guilty of her charges and received 62 years. 62 years of his 263 years were based on Sherry Ellis's accusation. So very, very, very disturbing for me. Okay, so I showed you the picture of Anthony Edwards. I showed you the description based on his public records information, arrest record, his height. He was 5'6", I believe it was, and Sherry Ellis shows by, moving, standing up and showing how tall he was and what color his skin was, that he was darker than her skin tone, in her opinion. Basically, nothing at all like Daniel Holtzclaw. Daniel, I think, is 6'2", I believe, much taller than Ellis and Alexander Edwards. I just know that his attorney is working on his post-conviction relief. As far as where that process is, it's pretty tightly under wraps, basically. So I don't know. I like to say I feel good about it, but I don't really know. I don't know. Like I've had no, information or anything regarding where the case is.
He did reveal himself at Daniel I'm sorry.
The rally.
Yeah,
the birthday rally. Yeah,
Benjamin Munda, I think his name is, and he
Munda. Yeah,
a little bit, but he didn't say when he would be filing it.
Yeah, he introduced himself and spoke for a few minutes. Benjamin Munda, as Cherie said, is Daniel's post-conviction relief attorney. Like I said, that's all very tightly guarded, I guess, and it should be, and it's fine with me. And so I haven't heard of a time, or a time frame of when he plans to file it. If you didn't hear before, Under Your Scars, Daniel's dad, Eric Holtzclaw, did make a formal announcement that Daniel's that he's in a prison in Indiana, and I can't give any more information than that. But so I don't know. Munda has a really good reputation in Oklahoma City, from what I've read about him. So that's all we can do at this point is keep praying. And
I think he said that he also had previous experience with disgraced former Judge Henderson, didn't he?
I think so. I think you're right. Yep, I think he did have at least a case in front of Henderson. So I think he said something about that. I said I was going to clean that video up and repost that rally video, and I will. It's just very time consuming. Not that I don't have time, but it takes a lot of, I don't know if it's called bandwidth or whatever on my computer to do it. And I have to do it in small sections, and it was over an hour long. So, I mean, Daniel's he's doing much better now. He's got a job. He's working in the prison. I forgot to say this last time we were live. I got a Christmas card from Daniel, and I got it late because, prison mail, whatever. But at any rate, he wants me to remind everybody how much he really appreciates and loves all of you for all of your support and, still believing in his innocence. And so I apologize that I'm so late with that message as well. But he's doing well. He's working, just staying busy as much as you can in that kind of a situation. So, prison is prison. So that's kind of, anyway, I just wanted to kind of drop the Alexander Edwards part. Hit me in the comments section. All of you people who think that I'm just making shit up or, twisting things or whatever, go ahead. Hit me with your decent, respectful, at least, arguments. And if you're going to argue with me on something that I give you that I know is a fact, then you need to bring some evidence with you. You can't just say I'm lying and you're right. and then, not tell me why you're right and I'm not, not show me or prove to me. That's not how I operate. And I know that I think I can speak for Cherie and Rick is in that way as well. So,
Rhonda, love,
yes,
you're
what?
hunting acorns again.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Cherie has to go, and I need to go work, soothe my throat a little bit. So I'm going to let you guys go. And, I don't know what we have coming up next, but, probably a couple of weeks from now, we'll have something new to bring to you and discuss with you. So unless Cherie or Rick have any final comments, we're going to go ahead and let you guys go. And until next time, peace out, everybody.